how did you guys feel with the reveal that it was actually Halbrand the entire time? And Anthony, we'll start with you.
Well, I called it first, right? Like I said, it was
did.
this dude because
As soon as we met him, you were like, this guy's evil.
I saw him in the elevator and I said, this guy, Sauron. And you knew, like, you just
Sauron vibes.
Just because the way he came about in this season, and he's just on a boat and he meets, you know, Galadriel, and she's just chilling there. Like it just felt like the manipulation started to happen. Like it just felt right that this guy is not who he is. Clearly, he's on a mission right now in this season to do what he needs to do to take over Middle Earth, and you see the evil in his eyes. You see Mount Doom. You see the passion of what he wants to get to. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him now be himself rather than him manipulating us in believing he was someone else where we're trying to guess who it was. Now he can be Sauron. He could be the bad guy.
Hello and welcome to the Movie Podcast reaction to the Season 2 teaser trailer of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. My name is Daniel. I'm one of your hosts today, and joining alongside me in Middle-earth is Shahbaz.
Hello, I am Shahbaz. I guess that kind of sounds a little Lord of the Ringsy, right?
Yeah, your name in itself sounds like a type of figure in Middle-earth, 100%.
Right, yes, that's what I was going for.
Shay decided to bring his voice back, his season 1 voice.
The season 1 voice has returned.
What was my season 1 voice?
Exactly what you just did, man.
Was it exactly what I did?
Lord of the Rings.
Guys, I'll be honest, I don't remember any of this.
And also joining alongside us, of course, is our favorite evil elf, our Halbrand, our Sauron. It's Anthony. Hello, Anthony.
Hello.
You sound so delighted to be here.
Very Halbrand.
I am so delighted to be here. I'm not doing any voices.
No.
I'm excited to talk about this trailer.
It's been it's so crazy to think, you know, as we were watching this trailer for season 2 of The Rings of Power, I'm like, man, it feels like it's been a hot minute since we've spoken about this show. And then I'm like, oh my God, it was almost 2 years ago that we were in LA doing interviews for it back in 2022. That's absolutely wild to think how long it's been since, you know, as we've been patiently waiting for the show to return. There's been a writer's strike. There is an acting strike. There's a pandemic happening. So a lot of things were happening to delay us getting here today. So
the elves were on strike too. The elves were also on strike.
The elves were also on strike. I think there was a disagreement between them and the dwarves. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff happening.
The crazy thing is this season was being made 2 years ago while the first season was coming out, because I remember we were talking to the writers and we were at the event and experiencing everything. It's like, yeah, after this event is done, we're going back and we're already filming season 2. Like it's almost done. Yeah. And I know the strike happened and all that. So it's been a long road, a long journey.
I remember we were in London. They were also shooting still.
That was over a year ago now. So it's again, you see it. I mean, this is a series, Rings of Power, that you see it all on screen. If there's anything that you cannot deny from the first season of The Rings of Power, is that it is a damn beautiful looking show. They put everything into this. It's easy to see why it is one of the most, or if not the most expensive series ever created for Prime Video, because it looks gorgeous. The effects are incredible, and it rivals, I think, a lot of what we've ever seen on the big screen as well too. So I'm excited to break down this trailer with you guys.
Can we just start right there with it being, you know, the most expensive television series ever made? And I think that was like the biggest thing that we were talking about when season 1 came out. This is going to be a huge TV series experience for everyone. And I felt the moment the season happened, it didn't hit the mark they wanted. And I know, and this is just us being like, us experiencing what we experienced during that time, but then getting to that point at the end of what season 1 really was. And season 1 also competing with HBO's version of Rings of Power, which was the House of Dragons, and just the House of Dragons owning every single week and they were going head to head, right? And it just felt like I understood, even though they had this huge budget and this huge story, I understood what happened and how it happened.
Yeah, and it's interesting too to see how, obviously they have the rights for certain things. There's other things that, again, for us too was a learning experience, because so much of the comments and things that we got at the time were like, oh, like Tolkien this, wouldn't be happy with that. And again, we're just judging off of the story that we've been told. Again, the Peter Jackson original trilogy of Lord of the Rings, that's like that's the gospel for us. Like that, those are like, that's the holy works. And I've really enjoyed season 1. Definitely there are moments where I feel like I think we are rushing a lot of things, or there was stories that were being told that we couldn't really expand on more. Again, these shows were an hour long. It was 8 episodes, and it feels like we were just scratching the surface in the first season. So to be coming back after 2 years, it finally looks like we're getting the payoffs, hopefully, for a lot of what we established already in the first season. Really quickly, before we dive into the trailer, of course, this is the Movie Podcast. You can catch brand new episodes all throughout the week with new reviews, interviews, episodes, reactions, and all the latest movies and series. If you like what we're doing, consider subscribing, leave us 5 stars, and follow us on all the lovely social media sites. Everything you need to know is in the show notes below, including our Discord, where to rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you have an extra couple bucks to toss our way, you can join us on our Patreon for exclusive content. But let's get right into this. This brand new trailer was provided to us early from our friends at Prime Video, so we can have a reaction ready to go for you as soon as it drops. So huge thank you to them for working with us on releasing this reaction. Let's start things off right away. We are opening up with the final shot of season 1, right as Sauron is looking out on Mount Doom. I think back to that episode in season 1 where Mount Doom exploded, and it probably is one of the greatest TV episodes I've seen in all of television history. And I know sounds like so over the top, but what they were able to pull off on that episode, I've gone back and rewatched it. It is incredible, and I really hope that each episode of this show coming back now has that intensity and that visual storytelling and that just love for the source material that is telling. How did you guys feel about, we were wondering in all of season 1 who's going to betray them, who's going to be Sauron, who's going to be that person who was stirring all the evil. How did you guys feel with the reveal that it was actually Halbrand the entire time? And Anthony, we'll start with you.
Well, I called it first, right? Like I said, it was this dude, because
as soon as we met him, you were like, this guy's evil.
I saw him in the elevator and I said, this guy, Sauron. And you knew, like, you just
Sauron vibes.
Just because the way he came about in this season, and he's just on a boat and he meets Galadriel, and she's just chilling there. Like it just felt like the manipulation started to happen. Like it just felt right that this guy is not who he is. Clearly, he's on a mission right now in this season to do what he needs to do to take over Middle Earth, and you see the evil in his eyes. You see Mount Doom. You see the passion of what he wants to get to. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him now be himself rather than him being, or him manipulating us in believing he was someone else where we're trying to guess who it was. Now he can be Sauron. He could be the bad guy.
The bad guy. Charlie Vickers, man, he does evil so well. And like you believe him because you also root for him. Like you want him to be good. But as you start to see that turn, you're like, yeah, I see the path you're going down. Shay, how about you? Any thoughts on, Halbrand now being Sauron and, wanting to take on Middle Earth now?
The whole season 1 kind of just felt like this episode of Clue where we're trying to figure out who did it. Like, who is the big bad in here? And I was so pleasantly surprised when it ended up being Halbrand. I was like, oh, yeah, like, I'm not mad at this at all. I think this is a really great place because this guy, he can teeter the line of being charming, but also just pure evil incarnate. So yeah, I was totally down for that. I don't remember now, like if we had called that. I know that Anthony, when we saw him in the elevator, we're like,
Sauron. Oh, okay.
But no, I really liked that reveal.
I love it. As this trailer continues on, we see another shot of Halbrand, and we see Durin talking, about this ancient evil power that is returned. And as they're talking about that, we get a cutaway of what looks like the symbiote just coming out and forming a person crawling on land. And it's also so creepy looking. And again, it looks gorgeous, but you're also just like, this is so upsetting to look at. As that's also happening, we get new shots. We get Galadriel and we get Elrond with some other elves all squaring up because it looks like evil is afoot. Really cool seeing. I think it's really cool seeing them back. I think Morfydd and oh my God, why am I looking? Is that Roberts Armaro, who is Elrond? I think they were such highlights of season 1. Robert especially, who I just believed him as Elrond. He had this diligence and just this feel to him that he's like, I have this duty, but I also have a life before I was like in a position of power. So it's great seeing them back.
He's rocking some like Frodo hair in this scene as well. It's kind of down. It's not as slick back. He's kind of got this like almost not disheveled, but clearly they've been through things to get to this point.
And he's also from what I remembered from the first season, he was more laid back in the sense of how he conducted himself. So now seeing him, I don't remember if we saw him in battle at all in season 1. I'm trying to like go back and rewind the clock here, but it's nice to see him with Galadriel and seeing what they can do together in a battle.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings is battles, dude. Like, what else do you want? Like, I get it, you want lore, but you want a battle. And I think that was my biggest complaint in season 1 was there was not enough battles. They had that big one, which is magnificent, but there was not enough to like really like drive in that we're here to own this world and to experience it on the small screen, big screen, wherever you watch it. Yeah.
And surrounding them as they are squaring up, we see like these dark like figures with like glowing white eyes. So I don't like, we speculate they look, Shay, you mentioned that they look like how like what would you say they look like the creatures that like when Frodo wears the ring, right? Is that what you're saying?
Almost like that, or even like kind of like the Nazgûl, maybe the Nazgûl, but there's like this race of men that like have died, and like now you can kind of see them again. So there's a lot of different characters obviously in Lord of the Rings that we've seen in the original trilogy that almost emulate a similar kind of presence.
If you're watching this and you know who these guys are, or who you suspect, or maybe you read all the books and the appendages, write in the comments. Put it in, let other people know, because again, we know as much as we can know in our spot.
But I'm excited to see like the frame by frame breakdowns, and please let us know as you discover it. Our next shot is we see some scary bloody hands with black nails and fancy clothes. So we don't see a face though, but it looks like they're summoning like this swarm of moths or butterflies maybe, but they look a little bit more scary, so I'm going to say they're moths. We don't know exactly who it is. I'm like, I think we were speculating, could it be Halbrand? Could it be Galadriel? Could it be like, we haven't seen, there's a lot of characters we haven't obviously seen yet. Any ideas who we may be seeing here, guys?
They look like a woman's hands. Like there's
definitely a woman.
Just like,
look at the thumbs and the fingers. Like if you pay attention, they have like long dark nails.
I first thought it was like the one person that we kept seeing. I can't remember now what their name was or whatever they called them, but it was that group of really like white soldiers that had like these staffs, and they were fully bald, and they're always like doing like creepy things because they also have like these like black fingers, like the fingertips, and a lot of the crest on their shirt that they were wearing was like very like intense and heavy. So I don't know, is this like them again, but in a much more cleaned up kind of a state, you gotta wonder. So I'm not too sure
with that. As we continue on, we get to see some vines coming out of the ground towards who we think is Celebrimbor, who obviously
looks like him,
famous for creating the rings, and obviously was in the first season as well too. And we didn't get as much of him in the first season that I wish that we got a lot of him towards the end, or we'll have this kind of cuts to him with Elrond. But it's nice to see, it looks like he's gonna be hopefully playing a larger role this time around. After that, we also see him in another shot in the room where they forged the rings, and it looks like some type of explosion has happened, and he's kind of reacting to that.
Or it almost looks like a vision occurring in front of him.
It could very much be that
almost
too.
Like something just appearing, apparating in front of him.
One of the things that we were speculating, speaking of flashbacks, and I like that you called that out, we see a shot of Halbrand, aka Sauron, but he has like slicked back blonde elf hair. So he looks like, is this a flashback? Anthony, what are we speculating here? Is this a flashback?
Undercover boss.
Is he undercover boss right now?
After reviewing the footage, I'm going to say it's present. It's present because I think later on in the trailer, we see him very fair, very elf looking, but Celebrimbor is there with him. So it's not something from the past. Or maybe it is. Like, again, these teasers, man, I don't know what to believe.
We don't know. They want us, they'll put us down the path they want us to focus on. From there, we get to a shot of this massive sea creature underwater. And another character who it's really hard to tell who it is. Again, we haven't seen Bronwyn yet, Nazanin Boyandi. We haven't seen her character yet. So I'm like, is that her? Is that somebody else? We don't really know who is it. Again, if you know who it is right away, let us know. And this giant sea creature, which is really cool to see. And then from there, we get another shot of Durin, who he's in the mines, and Disa, who is Durin's wife, who we met in the first season, who they sing into the mines, and it's a really cool thing to see.
Do you think the person who's drowning could be like the queen? What was her name? Queen Regent?
Oh yeah,
Muriel. Queen Regent Muriel.
Muriel, yeah,
because she just had the same hair, but again.
Yeah, I see that.
I don't know if they drowned her in that book.
Yeah, we don't know. But yeah, as that's happening, then we start to get into the realm of a little bit more montages of things that are happening. We see Arondir, who was great in the first season. He had such he was one of my highlights in season 1 for me. He was just so I just loved his sense of duty and being of presence. His presence was like, I'm an elf, but I love the human. I love the mortals. I want to spend time with them and protect them. It was great seeing him. We see Isildur as well too, who we know is going to have a larger role as the story is going to continue on. And then of course we see the stranger, aka who is believed to be Gandalf, who's looking a lot more Gandalf-y in this with the staff and the gray robes and just slamming the staff in the ground. And it appears that this looks like a tornado or some type of windstorm is happening that sends a lot of people flying in this. Are you guys in the camp that he is Gandalf? Do you think he is going to be Gandalf in this?
He's Gandhi, baby.
Dude, if he's not Gandalf, like, come on. Who you lying to,
fooling?
Man?
You're
who you
Gandalf.
Fooling? Yeah. You're Gandalf.
There's also this moment where we get some like text on screen for once that says like darkness will bind them. Of course, that's that famous line also that in the darkness it will bind them. So we're clearly, that seems to be kind of like where this season is now going forward, where we're getting this chapter or this phrase of Galadriel's speech here that's now going to be probably what dictates the rest of the season, that it's going to be a lot darker of a season. It looks like it, and it looks like it's just going to be a lot of horrible moments for our favorite characters.
Yeah, and that's exciting because you want to see the dark paths again. In the world of Lord of the Rings, there's so many just very sad and harrowing endings. So it's weird to say like you're excited to see that, but you want to see the text adapted as it is. So it looks like a lot of the paths that they are setting up in this teaser are what they're going to be exploring, which is really exciting to see. We get a shot of 4 people wearing their rings. We see an elf army led by Elrond. Again, he's in the battle. It looks all great. Like seeing an army that size charging is really cool. We see some shots of Numenor as well too, and then a really cool shot of Halbrand, aka Sauron, I guess, in the room where they were forging the rings, and we see a bunch of people take out their swords against him. So it looks like we're like, again, they know who this evil is now. They know who this presence is, as who they are needing to fight. And then again, the final shot of this trailer, we see the giant tower being built, which will be the future, eye of Sauron. And it looks like it all freezes over, which is really interested to see. Again, I wonder when that's going to happen this season. Is it going to be like a mid-season finale type thing? Is it going to be like a big ending towards the later half of the season? Or maybe it starts right away. We don't know when this season is going to be releasing. So I'm really curious to see what's effects are finished. This is just very much a teaser. But really quickly, guys, any other thoughts on the rest of the shots that we've seen so far before we wrap this thing up?
I would say like it won me over. Like it won me over for season 2. Like it's a really well-made teaser.
Oh yeah.
And we're watching it in a way that is not designed to be watched in the best way. So I can't wait to watch it on a big screen and just experience it, because it's really well done. I think it hyped me up enough to want to watch season 2 and get me excited for it for sure.
Yeah, same here. I think like I want to revisit season 1. I know we really loved season 1 on here, and there's obviously moments, yes, that weren't the strongest, but I think they had enough of a ground to go off of. I think season 2 really is just going to be this much bigger and more cohesive story that I think each episode kind of warrants a necessity for that episode.
And it's really exciting, and we cannot wait to see when this is going to drop. Again, we were watching this a little bit before the trailer is dropping, so we don't have a date on when the season is going to be coming out, but we're just really excited to see more of this. Again, thank you to our friends at Prime Video for providing us the trailer to bring you this reaction. Let us know what we missed. Obviously, there's probably a lot. Write in the comments below. We'd love to know what we missed, what you thought of the trailer, and join our Discord. Let's talk about it even more. We have a great community there. We have a really fun this group of entertainment lovers there. So if that's you, if you want to bring the good vibes, make sure you join us on Discord and follow us wherever you are on socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Letterboxd. The Movie Podcast is there. We have lots of great episodes coming your way, lots of reviews and a lot of fun interviews. So make sure you stay here. You're in the best spot for entertainment. So stick around. That was this time with the Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.